What a game it turned out to be. Atleti 4, Real Madrid 2 then after extra time. And we told you throughout the day, if you were watching our coverage, that this was going to go to extra time because it had done in the previous 7 occasions. It is now up to 8. And in single elimination ties, we see extra time when these two teams meet. We welcome to the show Frank Leboeuf joins us here. And Frank, in a moment, that was great, wasn't it? That's what you want from a cup tie.
No, I'm not a mathematician. But that's 14 goals,
right?
I believe.
Yes.
In the last 2 games between these two sides.
Yeah.
I am absolutely loving this version of Atletico Madrid.
Yep.
From the depths of despair of not wanting to watch them play.
The Real Betis rant.
Early in the season.
Yep.
To this version that we've been sort of calling out for, more expansive, more attacking, utilising these quality players that they do have. These players that can influence games and can cut teams open and can score goals. And it's not just about defending. And yeah, it's leaving them more susceptible at the other end to counter-attacks, and it's putting Jan Oblak under more pressure. But by God, particularly at home, it's really, really good to watch. And yeah, Real Madrid had more possession, but it's hard to argue that in the end, Atletico Madrid didn't deserve to win this game.
Real Madrid fans will disagree, but this was a lot of fun, wasn't it?
It absolutely was. I thought, again, you knew coming into this 2 very good footballing teams. The only question would be which version of Atletico Madrid would show up. I'm happy to say, as Craig just alluded to, is this more attack-minded one that not just pragmatic and physical, but one that utilises the full talents available to this squad. And then Real Madrid, we know who they are. That didn't change, and it turned out to be a wonderful football game between 2 really good teams. And now the winner, Atletico Madrid, of course, will be the favourites to go on and win this title. And while you cannot take anything away from Atletico Madrid and their post-game celebrations, there's still a long way to go yet. But this is a huge scalp, especially given everything that's kind of happened in the build-up to this game.
This crowd get behind this team, even in the most turgid performances.
Yes.
And somehow you sit and you wonder and you go, how can 60-odd thousand be so excited about watching what they've been watching? So can you imagine when they see performances like this, where it's end-to-end, what the atmosphere
Those whistles in extra time when Real Madrid had possession, you could just hear them. Can you reverberate around
there's
the
no
stadium?
doubt there's no doubt they have harnessed this atmosphere, this backs to the wall, everybody hates us, and some do. This mentality that I suppose in some way comes from the coach all the way through to the playing staff, and it's far from perfection, but boy, this is a big scalp for them, particularly coming off the back of the 5 goals they lost in Saudi Arabia, particularly that they've just fallen off the top of the title race in terms of the gap is open for them, and they lost a little bit of form, they lost a little bit of energy, and you just felt that they got that back tonight.
And of course, a Frenchman who scores the winner, Frank.
Yes, and it was from far not his best game ever. He was celebrated at first, but except his goal, I would say that he wasn't the Griezmann that I was expecting to see today. But what a goal! What he did to Vinicius Junior was absolutely perfection on the right side, and how he finished the action was great. I loved all the dramas of the game. I loved everything I saw because we saw mistakes. We saw, big errors, and we saw that on that goal specifically, maybe from Tchouaméni, and Craig alluded it. But I saw a football game. Without mistakes, there is no goals. But you have to have 2 teams who give their best to have those sort of dramas. And what I liked, and the 2 differences between Madrid and the 2 Madrid is you have, in fact, certainties from Real Madrid about what they have in hand, the game that they have, but bring it to a sloppiness in a way because they're sure to come back. So they don't they don't go to stress, and they know that at some point it's going to come. But they are confronted to a team who have a self-belief which is unbelievable, and it comes from the coach and his craziness, in fact. And it's what I loved about those 2 teams, because they're completely different, but they fight for something which is the best of the best, and they never give up. And I loved it. I loved the confrontation from 2 completely different way of thinking the game, but what a game.
Where did Real Madrid lose this game today?
trying to think back to all the goals now. I mean, where they lost it was they weren't clinical enough when they had possession and they had some chances. And All Black, made some mistakes, and Atleti made some mistakes. I think they lost the game maybe as it went on in the middle of the park. Modric didn't put his hand up to be in the team before Toni Kroos. The Tchouaméni situation baffles me. He's one of the freshest players on the field. He's only off the bench. He's got his mate who's played all game, and he's now chasing back into the left-back area, Vinicius Junior, and he's chasing one of the most creative players in Spanish football, in Antoine Griezmann, and he's used to use this word again. He's sauntering, he's ambling, and it absolutely baffles me why. And that's not it's not the only reason why they lost, but they certainly lost a goal. And if Tchouaméni is alert and doing what a defensive midfielder should do and sees that happening in front of him, he busts a gut to get over there. And there is no way in the world that Antoine Griezmann can get the strike away.
Right.
He's then going to have to beat Tchouaméni as well and do what he did.
So why doesn't he?
I thought he's either... This is what I'm saying. It baffles me with some of these players.
I'm very disappointed by... I think it's Nacho next to him. Nacho has to go. He knows that he has to go because he knows that Tchouaméni doesn't have that reflex. You have to make sure that Vinicius is being helped out, and the only way that you can do it is to take the decision to go for it. I think Tchouaméni hasn't got that reflex because he's not in a survival situation, and that's what we are when we are centre backs. We know that if we don't do that, it's straight to the goalkeeper. Midfielders, they know that maybe the defenders are there, and Tchouaméni thinks, at his mindset is that somebody's going to cover him or is going to go for Vinicius. That's the main problem that Tchouaméni has in that situation.
I get what you're saying, Frank, but we're not talking about Brahim Diaz in that position.
Right.
We're not talking about Rodrigo. Tchouaméni's a defensive midfielder. Guess what defensive midfielders have to do? Not just now, 10 years ago, 20 years ago, 30 years ago, they have to track runners. They have to sense danger. They have to cover fullbacks. It's what the best ones do. One of the best ones at the moment is Rodri playing for Man City. He covers everybody. And the better players sense that. As a midfielder, when you see that happening, do I think as a midfielder, I'll just leave him be? Or is my first thought, I need to go over there and double up because he's in trouble? That's just that should be automatic for him, and it's almost, to me, when I watch some of these players, it's like, well, I wasn't told to go and do it. You have to, Roy Keane, Patrick Vieira. I mentioned Rodri. There are others out there. They are the best and have been the best at what they do because they read these scenarios and they snuff them out. And I think he was culpable there for just not getting across and doing his job.
I agree. I think he is culpable, but I do take Frank's point that maybe it doesn't come as naturally to him as it does to Roy Keane or Patrick Vieira, and Tchouaméni is still growing into that position.
Well, they better hurry up. He's a defensive midfielder.
But he's not a starter for a reason. He's not a starter. Let's admit that. He's not a starter for a reason. He's growing into that position. But at the same time, if we discuss where it kind of went wrong for Madrid, a lot of Madrid boxed the first half.
Yeah.
And did so with 10 men, let's be honest. Luka Modric was only on the park for set pieces. He didn't offer an awful lot. So I think at moments like that, you go to somewhere like the Metropolitano and you have command of the game, you have got to separate yourself from Atletico Madrid. And they couldn't. Not for want of trying, but I just feel that Luka Modric, as outstanding a player as he was, I thought he was a little bit of a passenger for Real Madrid today.
Obviously, we thought, all right, Ancelotti solved his goalkeeping problems. He's got Lunin now as his number one. Kepa making the mistake in that game against Atleti last week. Lunin at fault for the second goal and Morata.
And when he did, I thought his angle of approach, his decision-making was entirely wrong. It's just, again, one that he just has to take on the chin.
I think what they have two goalkeepers that we could perceive as being okay. Mm-hmm. And Real Madrid, when you think about Courtois and Claudio Brava and others, they just aim for so much higher than that, and they're in a quandary now because of this Courtois injury that was picked up in the summer, And look, Kepa got better at Chelsea. You know, Kepa went to Chelsea, this big money signing, had a horrendous time, right? The players lost confidence, the manager, he was dropped and nobody fancied him. Somehow he found his way back in and actually played not too bad, but not to the standard of what Real Madrid really are looking for.
Let's be honest. Real Madrid have two number twos in Lunin and Kepa. They're not starting goalkeepers by any measure.
Where's Keylor Navas these days? What's he up to?
I have absolutely no idea. but being a number two is a totally different mindset from being an established number one. Being a number two for somebody like Thibaut Courtois, even more so. And I think that's what you're seeing. Whenever a number two has a sustained run in the team, you will see mistakes crop in. The mindset is totally different in how you go about your business. And I think that's what you're seeing. Kepa gets an extended run, starts making mistakes. You can't really describe this as an extended run, but it looks like Lunin is about to embark on an extended run, and little mistakes, little concentration errors are creeping into his game.
Do they go out, I wonder, in this period between now and end of January and try and find somebody that...
I don't think so.
Kepa was supposed to be that, wasn't it?
Yeah,
I don't think so.
Well, clearly the manager has got no confidence in Kepa, and I would imagine his confidence is... what little is left is probably drained after that Lunin performance. So what do? Do they say, right, okay, this is what we got and we have to figure it out and go with them between now and the end of the season? Because, you know, they're fighting for the league with Girona. Might be a couple of other teams, we'll see. The Champions League is going to be huge for them again.
Yes.
And it's going to be difficult to carry passengers. And at the moment, the goalkeeper issue and all these other issues that Ancelotti's had, he's now got another one in goals again. That's a problem.
Here's my question to that. If you are a number one, as I'm calling it, and Real Madrid, you never turn that call down. You know you're playing for, 6 months? Because once Courtois gets fit, you're now a number two. So how does that, again, kind of affect what Real Madrid does in this transfer window?